I'd like to call the Bluff City Board of Mayor and Alderman regular meeting for Tuesday, June the 4th, 2019, 6 p.m. to order. Sharon, roll call, please.
Alderwoman Key. Here. Alderman Walls.
Present.
Vice Mayor Harrington.
Here.
Alderman Ward.
Here.
Alderman Bowling.
Here.
Okay, and the next thing on the agenda is a prayer by Vice Mayor Ray Harrington, and immediately following, pledge allegiance to the flag.
Let us pray. Lord, we come to you today for this meeting for the town of Bluff City. I'd like to thank you for allowing this new board members to be here, and I'd like for you to offer your guidance and wisdom for them.
Yes.
I wish that and pray that all the decisions that are made in this board and the upcoming meetings and such will be for the best of the town of Bluff City. I pray for the citizens and everyone. Thank you for everything you do for us each and every day. Amen.
Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is discussion and action.
Talk a little bit louder, Mayor.
Discussion and action, appoint the vice mayor. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Ray Harrington as vice mayor.
Do we have
Second it.
a second? Take a vote, please, Sharon.
Alderwoman Key. Sustained. Alderman Walls.
Yes.
Can't vote for yourself.
Right.
No, you can vote for
Yeah, you
yourself.
can.
Okay. Vice Mayor Harrington.
Yes, then. If I can vote for myself.
Alderman Ward.
Yes.
Alderman Bowling.
Yes.
Thank you.
And the next thing is appoint one planning and zoning board member. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Amanda Kyer.
Do we have a second?
No, it has to be a board member.
Oh, that's right, I forgot.
That's the board member?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Has to be a board member. I make a motion to appoint Jeff Walls.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Take.
Alderwoman Key.
Yes.
Alderman Walls.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington.
I'll abstain.
Alderman Bowling.
Yes.
Alderman Ward.
He's got it. Yes. Sure.
Did you vote?
I abstain.
You abstained. So we got a tie.
No.
No, it's not.
No.
Everybody voted
Oh,
yes.
Richard voted for
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
Except Ray. Sustained. It carried.
It's all good.
Oh, okay.
Walls. Jeff Walls.
Discussion and action, Dave Wilson, engineer with Mattern and Craig.
Fun stuff.
These are. I gave you two, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all for having me here this evening. I'm Dave Wilson with Mattern and Craig, and I just passed out a very brief 3-page update on the items that I would like to discuss this evening or to talk about, and then hopefully if you all have any questions, I can answer those and then get you any additional information regarding these items. They're in no particular order, but the very first thing is an update concerning the current USDA RUSRD funded project going on in town. And I know we have new board members, so I just included all three potential contracts that are going to be in the work, and wanted to briefly tell you where we're at and where we're going with those items as of this date today. As you all are aware, the first contract was for the pump station replacements. That project was completed in January 2018 by Iron Mountain from Mountain City. Total bid price and final construction contract for the work was $452,550. We did, of course, replace those lift stations and the force main from the Igloo to Lakeview Drive, along with additional improvements to the impellers in the Igloo pump station. Subsequent to Contract 1, we did have a bid for Contract 2, which were comprehensive water and sewer utility replacements throughout the system. That project is the ongoing project, and you're under agreement, the town of Bluff City is under agreement with Thomas Construction Company Incorporated from Johnson City, Tennessee for that work. The bid price for that work was $1,914,821, and the construction contract remains the same for that work as of today's date, $1,914,821. The proposed completion dates for that work were May 23rd, 2019 and June 22nd, 2019. Obviously, we're going to surpass those dates, we think, roughly by 30, possibly 45 days. Many different reasons for that. I don't think we have anything at the contractor's fault at this time that we've identified, and they are putting together a change for us. I put down that we had a meeting with USDA on the 22nd, but I think our actual meeting was on the 14th. We had a phone conversation with USDA folks, and they asked us to prepare that change order, which we will be submitting prior to our next progress meeting here in June to extend those times for the small amount of time that will be needed. The total, we did receive a payment request today from Thomas. It's number 11 on the project. It takes us up to $1,378,094 roughly, meaning that we have about $537,000 left on the contract prior to completion. Of that amount, most of it is going to be replacement of the existing or restoration of existing items such as curbs, ditches, landscaping, whatever's been torn up during the project, plus paving, of course. There's still roughly $175,000 in that amount for additional water line and appurtenance replacements for the project. We have, and as you all are aware, as the project has proceeded, there have been discussions about where we want to utilize or where we want to take advantage of that amount to get the best bang for the buck, and we've talked about doing different things. Among those would be replacement of water lines along Main Street, and that is in response to Mr. Moultrie's records of where we're having the most water leaks and where the main items we believe can be replaced to again get the best return on our dollar. We've also talked about our ongoing issue above the Igloo and to what we can do to alleviate that problem and reduce the probability of overflows, and we've discussed changing the actual location of the force main discharge from the garage pump station and placing it into Lakeview Drive directly, bypassing the Igloo. We did have the manufacturer's representative do a drawdown test for us, and we realized that there's probably about 80 gallons per minute coming from the garage pump station at our peak times, and to be able to take that away from the Igloo, I think would substantially put us over the top and help us. I do have a little further breakdown on that I'd like to give to you, which we just received the information from Wascon this week, and I put this together. As a matter of fact, today, I think the cost of that change within our existing project cost would be approximately $76,480. That's all engineering and construction costs. To be correct with the USDA contract, however, we would have to give the contractor the opportunity to review the work and to give us a price. So this is my estimate. They'll have to look at it and make sure that's true. But I'd like to give you this and just explain to you briefly what it entails.
Have we made any contact with the railroad?
We have not. Now, I will show you, once you have this exhibit, what we propose to do is to go through an existing.
So there was one. Okay. Good.
Yes.
But we still have to probably have,
Right.
those permits ain't cheap, though.
If I could, the second sheet is in the upper left. It's called Garage Pump Station Schematic, and it's a little bit hard to see here, but what you essentially have is the garage pump station at the bottom of the sheet, and there is a red line from that pump station up to the discharge point at the existing garage building. From there, the flow goes in the green line on up on the sheet through the mobile home park into the igloo. That green line used to be the old force main. It's a 6-inch line that came from the igloo to the wastewater treatment plant before it was abandoned. After it was abandoned, the engineer at that time simply turned the flow around and let the flow from the old wastewater plant go down the hill in that line and to the igloo, and that's where this flow goes now. The black line that you see going to the river was the original outfall line from that wastewater plant constructed in 1956, I believe, that went to the river, and it has been abandoned. However, there is a 40-foot railroad crossing above the mobile home residences off of Bluff City Highway that we intend to utilize. And if you look at the third sheet now, what we would propose is to install this red line, which is a force main from the garage pump station all the way over to the sewer line that is north of the River Bluff Landing entrance. That gravity line currently goes on down to Lakeview and then to the left along Lakeview to the pump station owned by the city of Bristol and therefore to the regional wastewater plant. Again, what that does is it takes the flow that would go to the igloo from this pump station away and directly to the gravity line. I really do believe that given that we would be pumping those peak flows simultaneously, that could return as much as the 1/4 to 1/3 capacity back to the igloo, and I think that certainly would have gotten us out of most of all of the events that have occurred in the last couple of years, I believe, from overflowing. We did, unfortunately, there's no good information on those existing pumps. They were constructed in 1994, and as Mr. Moultrie can tell you, one of the purposes of WASCON coming here was to give us some assistance on what needs to be completed at the garage pump station, regardless if this work occurs or not. It's not in the best of conditions. It is an old steel wet well that has corroded significantly, and there are some problems with the guide and rail system that you use to take the pump out whenever that's necessary. At the very least, that needs to be replaced. They've given us an estimate for that work. I did not bring that with me. It's in the $8,000 range. They've also recommended that the pumps be replaced. They have reached the end of their service life. Their estimate for the pump replacements only was approximately $30,000, given that that would be installed, rule of thumb, probably double that, so $60,000 for the pumps. In addition, we need better controls there, better SCADA system, and that's just so it reports whenever that pump station is running. If it does happen to have a backflow or an issue pumping, I think currently there's an alarm, on-site alarm, but we'd like to connect it into the existing system so that Mr. Moultrie or the other gentleman that may need to work on these get a dial out, and they're aware that it happens remotely without having to be on site or having to rely on somebody at the site. So given all that work, though, what we propose here, again, my estimate for what we would like to do to limit the probability of the overflows is 76,480. That will continue to evolve. I'm hesitant throwing that out without talking to the contractor first, but I wanted y'all to know. So, do you all have any questions about that proposed work?
Are we sure that the Bristol's pump station could handle that?
It is now. We're not changing anything. I think the only thing will be,
Just moving the route.
right, we're changing it may get to Bristol a few seconds faster than it would have normally.
I just know that when we have overflows, we're also pumping multiple trucks out too. So you're going to eliminate the pumping the trucks, and you're going to eliminate the overflow. So all that extra.
That's the
waste
idea.
is going to go
Yeah.
to the other pump.
Yep. It is, they are aware of that, and I know that one of the issues from the very beginning was not to increase our capacity onto them, and they've been very aware of that, and I think when we do our calculations, we will submit to those guys also for review.
Do we know their percentage of capacity that we're
I do
sending
not.
through that pump station?
I do not the Lakeview for the city.
I didn't know if we were up to like 80% of that pump.
You know, I believe, of course, you have the town of Bluff City, and they also serve Piney Flats, the areas in Piney Flats and the Tri-County Industrial Park. That's correct. All three of those entities go to that lift station, and I have to believe that the town would probably be at least half of the flow, possibly more, would be my guess at
So are
this
you
time.
saying that people won't be experiencing the overflows?
That's what we hope. I don't know that those will ever, I can't say that will never happen because so many things could happen, but I think the probability, I believe that what has occurred to date, we would have prevented.
Basically, what he's saying is that Igloo Station has 3 inlets and 1 outlet, so we're going to take one of the inlets, one away from it. So it
So it
won't
won't be
work.
so much pressure, right? Oh,
Right, right.
And we hope the last thing, again, because we do not have all of the pump information, if you think about it this way, the existing force main for the garage pump station is 450 feet long. We're now going to install one that is 855 feet long. The high point is going to stay the same. So we will be increasing the head that force main or that pump station sees, not from an elevation standpoint, but from a friction standpoint. So it will be minimal, but we're going to watch that calculation closely and have it evaluated to make sure that our pumps will meet that flow. That's right. We believe, and again, these pumps are, Alan, I don't recall, I think they're about 20 horsepower. The motor size is greatly exaggerated for the pumps that are there, but we'll get that information if we do decide to move forward, and I think you will at least need to make these maintenance improvements that they have suggested in the very near future. When it's pulled, there should be a base plate on the bottom of the pumps that's currently submerged that we can get the existing information from to verify the flows. From that, I guess the remaining, if that were to occur, and given that our prices may be suitable, that would leave us with a balance of roughly $460,000 on contract 2, which we would propose again to do the water line replacements along Main Street, and we do need to look at the possibility of replacing at least possibly 200 water meters at this time. And I agree with any proposed replacement of water meters is always a good thing because you return capacity to your system. Meters historically under read, and if they're new, it benefits you all from reading correctly and the customers from knowing what they're actually purchasing and able to make decisions based upon that. The remaining item for the USDA project is contract 3, which are the proposed improvements at the water treatment plant. And as you all know, this has been an evolving project since we began talking about this project back in 2008 or earlier. And with the changes in the operations at the plant, and we now have Ms. Tina Grindstaff assisting, and I suppose she is the interim manager or the interim operator for the water treatment plant. She has come on site and evaluated what had been proposed with the previous project, and along with Mr. Moultrie have evaluated where they are now given the recent changes to replace the media and the nozzles and other items at the plant. Based upon that, we had met earlier. She had a laundry list of items which was actually substantially the same as what was being proposed anyway. There was one significant change, and that is in lieu of having a larger finished water tank, she believes with the changes we've made in the system that we have recovered a substantial amount of the capacity or the ability to feed water through the elimination of water leaks. So she believes that an increase in our wet well at the plant can serve a dual purpose. It can actually give us that additional storage there that we need, and at the same time give us enough time to allow for proper chlorine contact and serving the folks along Underwood Springs Road to eliminate the existing line that goes back up Underwood Springs. So that's the substantial change that has been proposed with that work, and we have briefly discussed it with USDA. They have asked that we complete a revision or an amendment to our preliminary engineering report. This will be the fourth amendment to that report to go along with the work that's been completed to date, and to re-estimate what we anticipate the costs will be. As of today, we are using the same estimate for those water treatment plant improvements of $457,250. That has not changed. We would like to, our goal would be to meet the budget that has been established. And if we were to exceed that significantly, likely try to eliminate something for another project for another day in lieu of sacrificing something else on the contract too. But we should have that amendment this month, and we'll be able to talk to Mr. Trivett with USDA about it at our next progress meeting and where we're at. So since our last meeting with the mayor, some of the homework has been completed, and we know better about the numbers.
No.
With all of that work, of course, and I think moving forward, the total amount of the USDA funded improvements project with those three elements remains $3,718,628. That's what it's been from day one. We've managed to get through the first contract, and it looks like we're going to get through the second contract and hit those goals. Nothing magical about that. You know, we've limited the work to do that so that the town does not take on any unsuspected expense to do that, and that will still be our goal. I think if we can realize, such as an improvement like the force main being replaced to hopefully eliminate the probability of that overflow, if that takes us beyond that budget, I think we should still consider something like that. USDA will be open, and they've indicated they'll be open to additional applications for funding. We hope grant funding, but it's always an item we can't really speak to. There's too many factors that depend on things we can't control, like the monies they have obligated to others. Now, we do have, with this additional work, and we have discussed this with the city recorder, Ms. Green, we will be assessing with our next PER update, looking back at the project planning factors. So hopefully we'll have a good or a better fix on those existing planning factors, and what that is another assessment of your budgets, your last couple of budgets, your budget upcoming, where we are with the actual expenses compared to the actual revenues, how that affects your rates, not only existing but moving forward, and if you were to seek additional funding, how that may affect the rates. That's work we should go back and do now, in my opinion, and I think it would keep us in good stead with USDA moving forward.
And our water tank has overflowed several times, and with the additional pressures, so
That's correct, Mayor, and that's the mayor just alluded to when we did meet with Ms. Grindstaff. There have been some operational things that have occurred that really, I believe, are positive, and that's she had mentioned with normal operations, the water plant would run continuously and feed the system, and it would go out through use and through leaks. Well, recently we've been experiencing surpluses where the water has actually overflowed the tank, so the plant has had to be shut off, which is indication that a lot of the work that's gone on in the system has fixed the problems. So that's a great thing. Kudos and slap on the back. Now it's a good starting point. Maintain and take that momentum and move forward. It's really positive, though. We want to, of course, one or two bad leaks could mask that again, but I think now with what has occurred, particularly along Cedar, out and some of the different, or Carter, and some of the different older streets, I believe that those old aging water lines have been replaced. And not only that, but a lot of the services to people's homes, between the water main and the meters have been replaced, and those are all sources of leaks that can occur in an aging system. So it's a very, very good positive start. Not only that, but with the lift stations, I know there have been a couple of instances the overflows have occurred, but I know the probability, I think, has lessened. That may be a factor with how dry it is or the groundwater. It may have nothing to do with what we've done, but I'd like to choose to believe that all of the work that has been done in the collection system, particularly above State Route 390, has decreased those flows, and we're seeing the benefits of that now, and will continue in the future. The overall, a very, very positive assessment, and let's take that momentum and move forward if possible. Again, on item 2 here, do y'all have any other questions regarding the USDA project?
Anybody have any questions?
Mayor, if I could, just so we can inform the citizens, because many are asking, how are we on the repatching of pavement? I know that the project is delayed, but I know that I don't know about the rest of the board. Many citizens are very concerned about that.
Yes.
Obviously, do you have any idea?
I believe that, obviously it'll be about the last thing that is completed, and if we extend the time on the work, I would have to think that we would probably be mid to late July getting all the pavement completed. That's roughly 30 to 45 days from when it should have been.
Right. Well, just as long as we have a good firm date to inform the citizens.
I think there was one of the other things that the contractor has indicated, we had some substantial numbers in for miscellaneous concrete repair for sidewalks and concrete drives, which they were able to miss most of that. So I think that's money that'll come back to us, and we may be able to use that to improve or widen our paving or to put in more line work. We'll know that probably with the next estimate.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, with the water system, and I know these are taken as a whole with the collection system improvements and with the water treatment plant improvements. Again, as the mayor alluded, I think that we'll have the best handle on our capacity and our accountability, meaning how much we actually produce versus what's metered and billed, than has been in the last 20 years, would be my guess. With that moving forward, it can allow some flexibility, and one of the things that we need to do with the update of our project planning factors is to review again the capacity of the water treatment plant and what it produces every day with what it is actually permitted to produce. Are we at that 80% number? Are we lower? And in the past we've had the alternate source has been the Bristol Bluff City Utility District connection over the State Route 390 bridge. That we do want to limit buying that water. It is at a bulk rate, and it's more expensive. I don't know that you can actually return a revenue to the system when you're buying a significant amount of water from Bristol Bluff. So the idea would be that we continue with these improvements to limit anything that we do have to buy and only purchase when it's absolutely necessary. And I think they're moving forward. If we continue to realize these capacity improvements back into the system, that'll give you a lot of flexibility in dealing with those folks in the future too, possibly without better bulk rates, and then what may be possible in terms of cooperation even on different sales. On the wastewater system, I know overall those the main particular item, as you all are aware, is all of the wastewater does flow through the lift stations and to the regional plant that the city of Bristol, Tennessee owns and maintains. And I know they actually look at your ongoing operations and past operations, and they set certain amounts that you pay in a bulk right there. Again, if we can, with given the improvements that we've seen, we hope that we can limit or remove any potential increases in those bulk costs. But being what I have seen when they prepare, they essentially look at all the costs of their operation, and then those are divided out on a prorated basis amongst all the users. So I don't think it's not anything that is in particular to Bluff City. It's just as their flows increase or decrease, they pass those costs along. Anything that we do, we would hope that it would affect us to help us stay down and help the rates remain the same for the residents. I know when we did look at that in 2016, there were a series of the rate increases proposed, and at that time, and I'm winging it a little bit here, I don't have the notes in front of me, we had, I think, an overall around a 50 or 52% increase, and that was all to be completed in a 3-year period. And I know after discussing with the board, and Mayor, you were able to stretch it out to about 5 years. I think the increases were made over that amount of time. From that time moving forward, I think our projections were, given the return to the system from the benefits of this proposed project, that it may be 2022 or 2023 before we looked at another increase. And at that time, I know we had suggested a nominal 1% or 1.5%, whatever it would need to be, to account for inflation at that time, so that you're never hit with those huge increases all at once again. And that's nothing. It's like any business, and our costs will continue to increase with inflation, with fuel, but this project, again, with all these replacements, it's given a good shot back to the infrastructure that we hope can maintain that for the near future, near long-term future, 10, 15, 20 years.
Does anybody else have any questions? Okay.
Thank you all for allowing us to work with you.
You're an outstanding brief.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is citizens' comments. The first session, 3 minutes. Give your name, address, and phone number, and come to the podium.
Hi, my name is Kathleen King. I live at 4234 Bluff City Highway. I was here a couple of weeks ago. I want to apologize because I did get very angry. Not that my attitude has changed any about this rezoning. To me, it's really imperative because we are a residential area, and we have elderly people on both sides of this property. My neighbor that lives to the left of me had a stroke. The elderly man that lives next to me is a sick man. My husband himself is bedridden today. All we listen to from 7 o'clock in the morning until whatever time of night, trucks coming in, trailers going out, trailers coming in, trailers coming out, and it's an ongoing problem for the last 6 weeks. So if you've really considered the part where he has made this driveway in the back of the fire department, I would really consider not allowing that to become a B3. I think it's imperative for the fire department not to have him allow that kind of access with his trailers and his trucks to go back down there. I have pictures of all the trailers and the garbage back there already. If Mr. Hertledge was really serious about putting in offices, an antique shop, a boutique shop, tiny homes in the back for the fishermen, then I believe that maybe before we would make that kind of decision, that maybe he would start that instead of putting up basketball courts and having garbage all in that parkway. And I believe that it's very upsetting to hear these trucks at 7 o'clock in the morning until 10, 11 o'clock at night, whenever he decides to do whatever he wants to do. So he came before this board, and I ask all of you to reconsider. You all have the opportunity to walk, to drive down there, to pass there, to see what it looks like. We live in a small town. It could be a beautiful little town. We don't need another garbage dump. And that's what it's become. And I believe that it's devalued my home that I've invested a lot of money in. So I've said my piece. I hope you'll reconsider what has been said. Go down there for yourselves. Look. And as I said, if Mr. Hertledge is serious about this great big thing that's supposed to be the most beautiful thing in Bluff City, let's see where it starts. And again, to consider that piece of property between the fire department and the back of that house.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Amen, sir. Okay.
Hello, my name's Troy Rutledge, and I own the property that she's speaking of, me and my father do. So, once again, we're here and we're trying to get the part of the property that is zoned residential, because it is split zoned right now. We want it zoned commercial. We talked about this in the board. It's recommended by the lady from the state. The board recommended it, so we're here in front of the board, mayor and alderman, and we would like for it to be not split zoned and all zoned commercial. As far as coming down, I invited y'all down at the meeting. Y'all are more than welcome to come down anytime y'all want. We have worked with the police department in doing anything that was asked of us immediately. As far as cleaning up when we were moving stuff in. I called on several occasions, checked with him to make sure it was done correctly, and then after it was done, checked again to make sure it was done correctly. So, as far as a road or what she's talking about between us and the fire department, I have no idea. All we're wanting is that little section of property zoned commercial to go along with the other half that's already zoned commercial. That's all we're asking. You can see by the map that there's half split zone. As far as the fire department's concerned, I'm not sure what she's talking about a road. They own their part. We don't have a road over there. All we have is the road access that's already there that goes to the back of the property. That's been there ever since the property exists. So, we do pull in and out a lot. Heck, there's 5 or 6 people a day pull in the gas station to buy gas, and there's no gas station there. I mean, it happens every day. There's people pull in and out of the fire department every day. There's people who pull in and out of the diner every day. As far as at 10 o'clock at night, no, I don't pull in and out at 10 o'clock at night. You know, we shut off about 6 o'clock, we're done. I don't live there. I live in Applewood Condominium. So I'm not there in the evening time. Nobody's there in the evening time. So if she hears people pulling in and out, possibly she could hear people pulling in and out of the gas station. I see it when I'm there every day. At least 4 to 6 people pull in there. I've seen people stick their credit card in the gas thing trying to get gas, and there's no gas there. So all we're asking is that little bit to be rezoned. So let's go back to what she commented that she apologized for in the last meeting. She went up and down the road saying it was a meth house, it was a crack house. Well, Now she's not saying that because it's been dispelled. So all we're asking is it for to be zoned altogether commercial. Simple. That's all we're asking. And I really appreciate y'all's time. I drove 5 hours, missed a day of my vacation to meet this meeting, and I'm getting ready to drive back. That's how much this means to me. So I really appreciate y'all's time. Thank y'all.
Julie Carter, 209 Smith Street Extension. I was at the Planning and Zoning Committee, and it doesn't make a bit of sense to me that it shouldn't be changed all business, because by my understanding, majority of it already is. Across the street, there's a closed down convenience store. Next to that is the mini storage. You go a couple buildings down, there's Neal's Market. You go the other direction, there's 2 houses, then there's a restaurant, and then the closed down Hertz building, and then the automotive place. So it's not like it's a residential places. I mean, it's not like there's nice homes all around, you know. And as far as noise, I think quiet time in Bluff City is 11, because I called, because my neighbors, they make noise 24 hours. So be it. But if he's going to bring in a revenue, I think the city needs any kind of revenue we can get. You know, if it, at least give the man a chance. If it becomes a problem, then discuss it then. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Kathy Leonard, 316 McClellan Lane, and I appreciate the dumpster coming in down there to get some trash out. Came in Friday, and they've had one man over there picking it up literally by hand and filling it up, and it's filled to capacity now, but there's still 3 piles in the back of the yard. But I don't know if you all got the point of all of this. The rats are breeding from the trailer, and even maybe from that car lot or whatever. That there's so many cars parked down in there, and you can see those creatures running from one side to the other. And but just those people moving, those dogs, I guess, kept them back a lot. But now the dogs are gone, they're going rampage down there. You can see them of a morning, and there's maybe 15, 20 cats just running wild. And the ordinances that I read do state that there's ordinance for cats and dogs. They're to be shot and tagged, and I'm sure these cats are not tagged and shot because they look real sickly looking. And I don't know how they get away with not getting a Humane Society on that, because I'm telling you, some of those cats look like they're in real bad shape. And if they get bitten by those wharf rats, I'm not talking about mice, I'm talking about big rats. If it's dark and you come down through there, you can't tell if it's a cat or a rat till you get really up on it. That's how big they are. So I'm begging this board to please do something about the rat situation down there and the cats and the buildings. I mean, we have ordinances saying that they should be taken care of. What you have to do is enforce the ordinances. Why are we not going to enforce the ordinances that we have in this city? I don't understand it.
Well, they're actually working on them.
Well, we've been working 4 months. This is 4 occasions I've been up here. Nothing has been done except them pulling a dumpster in there to pick up trash, literally. He's been down there twice now picking it up, and that's it.
And
that's all. Nothing about the varmints, nothing has been done.
And Ms. Morrell, she's going to have everything taken care of by the end of July.
Who is? Who?
Miss Morrell.
Miss Morrell.
Malone. Miss Malone. She's guaranteed us that everything will be taken care of. Where the trailer is
she
has a trailer and a
has she been given a citation about all that?
We've given her a warning. If she doesn't have things taken care of by then, we will have it taken care of and put on the property.
Okay. Well, I appreciate
attached to a property.
I appreciate it. Yeah, because it's getting to be serious. I'm telling you, it's really getting to be a serious problem. The longer we go, the bigger it gets. There's no stopping it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Somebody else.
It's Connie Leonard, 314 Main Street. Wanted to say congratulations to the new board members and returning board members, Mr. Ward. We look forward to what y'all are going to bring to the town. And anything that the citizens can do to work with you, we'll be glad to. And we appreciate all of you. And thank you all for trying to do something about the rats.
Yeah. Okay. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Dennis Prater, 702 East Myrtle, 37601. I've seen a number of you all before, and I'm up here to say congratulations to particularly Carol Keith for her election. It's great to see you up here, and I am really happy about this for the people of Bluff City because I know that she's someone who cares about what's true and right. And that's great. And I've been looking up here at the motto on the seal here that says, people working together to help each other. And I really think that's a great motto. And so I'm really happy that, you have someone who's going to make that come true. All right.
Thank you. Okay.
Kimberly Arwood, 312 Hard Drive, Bluff City. I am here first to comment that I'm here to own the fact that you all told everybody I sued the city for $30,000+. I'm just here to own the fact that I did sue the city. Anybody that didn't know that, I will admit that to you. I tried to sue your insurance, but when you falsify records and the insurance denies it, there's nothing I can do but sue the citizens. So I do own that, and I take that. Number two, your water hookup rates, $150 for a homeowner and $350 for a renter. Are you going to decrease those rates?
It's being looked into on the next budget. We have to wait until the new budget to accrue all that, or we'd have to change all the passwords and stuff. So the new budget, we're working on that now.
I'm very interested in that.
Didn't you, at the last meeting or something, said that you was want copies of it? What different rates were?
Different cities and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
because they're a lot cheaper.
We'll look at it.
And also, I know that when I had that overflow at my home, that the plumber mentioned that it looked like your all's line was actually kind of collapsing in front of mine. And if it ever did in the future, it may cause another overflow. So I just want you to know that you may want to keep a close eye on that line, because if that line ever makes my home overflow, I'm going to sue you again. I'm just letting you know flat out, I sue you again, and I'll take it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have anyone else?
Becca Buchanan, 750 Dry Branch Road, Bluff City, 276-1165. Congratulations to the new board members. And Alderwoman Keith, you promised that you would lower the water bills. My next water bill will be in a month. Is my water bill going to be lower than what it was this past month?
Hey, wait a minute. Excuse me. I didn't say I promised I'd lower the water bills, okay? I didn't say that.
You said you would get the water bills lowered.
Okay. Let her finish her 3 minutes, and
You
then you
said
can have
that you would
yours.
get the water bills lowered. And also, you sued the city and won. And many times you got up here and talked about the people couldn't pay their water bills or had a hard time. I had to choose between food, water bills, medicine. Did you take any of that money that you won off of the city and help these people pay their water bill?
If I can answer that question, furthermore, it's none of your business. And then
Hey.
Well, let her finish her 3 minutes.
Asking me a question, Mayor.
Okay, you need to let her finish her
It
3
may
minutes.
not be none of
and
my
then
business,
you can do
but
it.
the money you got from the city does affect the city residents.
Ma'am, you don't know what you're talking
Okay, wait a minute. You need to finish your 3 minutes, and then you can speak, okay?
Vice Mayor.
Is it 3 minutes?
Town meeting. Is this the way the meeting is supposed to be conducted? conducted. I'm here to.
We are supposed to ask questions.
Yeah, we'll let her
Or
finish
make
her
comments.
3 minutes.
So I'm just waiting on my water bill to get lowered next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Answer questions.
You go ahead.
Okay, to answer your question, sweetie, furthermore, it's none of your business, and I'm not being ugly or anything like that. And I did not say that I would lower the water bills. I said that we would look into it and see what could be done. Okay? And furthermore, I have been appointed to this board to do what's best. I try to do what's best for the people, the employees. I'm not here for any debates with you or anybody else. Okay, this is a business. We want to get things done, not to come down here and act ugly. Okay? So if you have any questions or if anybody is spoon feeding you anything, I just want you to know I'm here to stand up for what is right and not to argue with you or nobody else. Okay? Okay.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything?
Hi, my name is Sandra Madison. I live at 312 Holland Drive. You got something to say to me, honey? Say it. I just want to tell my sister, the new board members, I'm proud of you. Stand.
I will. You know I will.
I know you will.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything?
Again, Connie Leonard, 314 Main
Oh,
Street.
I'm sorry. We'll have to wait till the next time.
Okay, thanks.
We'll get you on the second session. Okay. Is there anybody else? Okay. If not, then we'll move on to discussion and action. The first reading on ordinance number 2019-001. Mr. Fry.
An ordinance to adopt a continuing budget and tax rate for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2019. Whereas it now appears that the 2019-2020 fiscal budget for the town of Bluff City, Tennessee will not be approved by July 1, 2019. Be it therefore ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the town of Bluff City, Tennessee, that amounts set out in the 2018-2019 appropriation ordinance are hereby continued until a new 2019-2020 appropriation ordinance is adopted. That the property tax rate of $1.28 per $100 of taxable value for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2019 shall remain in effect until a new property tax rate is adopted.
Okay.
This is something that we do every year as a precautionary measure, so if we don't have the budget adopted by July 1.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to accept this.
I'll second.
Take a vote, please, Shannon.
Who seconded it?
Right.
Alderwoman Key.
Since I'm not familiar with none of this, I have to abstain from it.
Alderman Walls.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington.
Yes.
Alderman Ward.
Yes.
Alderman Bowe.
Yes.
Okay. We'll move to the next ordinance. Do we have a motion for ordinance number 2019-002?
Does he need to read it?
Mr. Fry.
Need to read it. Ordinance to rezone certain property from R1 to B3 within the corporate limits of the town of Bluff City, Tennessee, and amending ordinance number 95-012 and the zoning ordinance map adopted herewith, that parcel number 8, according to the Sullivan County Tax Map 97J, Group A, be rezoned from R1 to B3, and that was the split parcel that was alluded to in the citizens' comments.
And do we have a motion?
Well, can I have some clarification on B3 versus B1, B2?
I think that's
I
what
would like the same.
I think she handed that out to you.
Yes, there's a sheet in front of you here that the handout shows B1, B2, and B3.
was the zoning board that recommended we go to B3.
Yes.
Hey,
With the limited information I have, it seems that your board recommended this, right?
mhm,
Or the
but,
zoning board.
yes, and so it depends on the final decision is for the Bluff City Board of Mayor and Alderman.
Yeah, the process is the planning commission recommends, but to be rezoned, it takes 2 readings with the board of mayor and alderman and a public hearing.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Do you have any comments?
This, I've kind of looked at this, and this being where you've got these houses right next to the B3, I was wondering, I'd like to see it, just to be honest, I'd like to see it zoned, if we're going to rezone that whole thing, rezone it B1 instead of B3. I know all we do here is vote up or down, but maybe send it, let them go back to the zoning board, and we didn't have all the information that we really needed on the zoning at that time.
I would agree with that.
Speaking for me, I just don't have enough information on this to be able to make an equitable decision for the citizens or the town.
In some of the material, it shows you what is in B1 and what's in B3. But I mean, make your decision the way you feel like you need to. If you don't want to participate in the vote, it's fine. Well, do we
I don't
have
think
a
the board had
motion?
enough information the last time they voted for it, because I was here at the meeting, and I don't really believe they had enough information as to what this entailed about a B3.
Well, if I may for a second, every question that was asked of the lady from the state was answered correctly. Am I not correct? And every question that was asked during that meeting, the lady from the state answered it. And we are through the state, city, we meet every bit.
Okay,
of
thank you.
qualifications. So
Thank you.
Every question that was asked was answered by that lady.
Thank you. Do we have a motion one way or the other?
I'd like to make a motion to send it back to planning and zoning to reconsider B1.
A second.
Take a vote, please.
Let me just interrupt here. This needs to be voted up or down because there can be an application. If it's voted down tonight, there can be an application made to the Planning Commission for B1, or the Planning Commission can zone it B1. So I think this stage in the process needs to be voted up or down here at the board.
But I would think that would make it look bad on them, that if we all vote no on it, that we're not going to do it.
So we need to vote either yes or no.
What if we all abstain?
Yeah, on these, well, it doesn't pass.
Well, if it's something you're not sure about, then you need to vote it down. If you're not sure, you got doubt.
Right. But at the same time, I mean, I'd rather vote on what we're going to do instead of, anyway.
Well, if we vote no, will it go back to the planning commission again?
If there's an application made, it can go back to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission can look at it on its own motion.
But can I not forego all that application and just resubmit it back to the planning and zoning by my motion?
No, this needs to be voted up or down.
So we all abstain? I just don't like to vote no on anything. Especially this.
Well,
whatever. Make a motion. Somebody.
This is pretty general, though. I mean, if you read, I've read B3 about 30 times here.
Right.
And, just in my professional opinion, the more I read it, the less I have issue with it. So, I don't know that nature. I know nothing about the property, hadn't been on it, hadn't inspected it. I heard from some citizens, on both sides, but I will offer the board that in reading this, at this point, I would almost approve B3. Yeah.
So you have.
It is definitely not R1.
Yeah, definitely not R1. Yeah.
Well, that's why I was thinking you would kind of meet in the middle and do the B1.
Yeah.
Well, one thing.
The B1 is a better description of what I understand.
Okay, one thing is that my understanding, and Mr. Fry can correct me, that B3, you could have any type of business there. I mean, you could have a junkyard, you can have any of that under B3. Under B1, it's more, just under B1, it's more like the things that he mentioned, like different types of businesses, like let's see,
retail sale of goods.
Yeah,
Right.
It's more like
and
that.
They're going to do antiques and some different things there.
But they could do all that under B1.
Right. No disposal of hazmat or anything like that.
There's not enough room on the property to.
I know it well. My mother used to live there.
Yeah.
Know the property well. Yeah.
There's not enough room to have a junkyard or anything, and I assure you that's not what our intentions are.
Well, I think for me, Alderman Ward's brought light to my decision. I think B1 is the best.
It has more codes.
Right.
I would just like to ask one question. The citizen had asked about anybody going by and looking at the place. Has any of you guys drove by there?
I drive by it every day.
Oh, so you've seen it?
They too.
I drive by
I live
once or twice a day.
You see it from New York.
And you've got more property that you're gonna find out like this. You're gonna run into this again.
I'm sure.
Very good.
So do we have a motion, and how does it need to be worded?
We'll either vote it up or down, a motion to.
Up or down, so.
I just want to forgo it and send it back to planning, but basically
Okay.
what Paul Fry's going to do, you're going to have to resubmit it to planning and zoning, correct?
Or the planning zoning can
Do it
rezone it on their own.
Vice Mayor, what you wanted to send it back?
But I mean, just for reconsideration
Right,
to planning and zoning.
You can't just go ahead and change it to B1 while we're here, instead of doing all that? That's what y'all recommended.
No.
No, they can't.
Yeah, can't
What
do
you
that.
recommend?
So many red tapes and stuff like that.
Applications for B3 right now. You have to submit an application for B1, right?
Right.
Correct.
So when is the next planning zone?
Next month.
First of next month. Second Tuesday. But we got to do planning and zoning board review.
It's next week, isn't it?
Yeah, next week.
No, it would be the August meeting because there wouldn't be enough time to.
Oh, it wouldn't be enough time, so it wouldn't be until the August meeting.
Okay.
Or July meeting.
Or July meeting.
Oh, I thought it was July. You said August. Okay.
And then he could do it and you'd be approved in July, and then the first reading for us would be in 1st of August.
Yep. We're going to approve it. It's going to take longer. Basically.
I'm still waiting for the vote.
Yeah. Well, we're all going to vote no. We're going to vote no on it, kill this one, and it's going to be resubmitted to planning and zoning for B1, and then it'll go back to their meeting on July, and then it'll come to us on the August meeting for us
Can I
approval.
ask a real quick question? What if they decide not to pass it through again?
I wouldn't answer that question.
That's
I wouldn't answer any more questions.
Let's take a vote.
Hell,
We gotta
we're going to take a vote.
Make a motions.
We gotta
Yes,
make a motion
yes,
to approve
yes.
it.
Somebody got to make a motion one way or another.
I'll make a motion to. We got to make one to approve it, though, don't we? Or
No, you don't necessarily have to.
make a motion to not approve it.
Yes.
Yeah, you could.
Never had one of those.
Well, you can do it.
Well, I'll make a motion not to approve R1 to B3.
I'll second.
Take a vote, Sharon, please.
Alderwoman Key.
Yes. Not to prove it. No.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, not to approve it.
Yes, not approved.
Yeah, because I made a not to approve motion.
Alderman Rolls.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington.
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Alderman Bowen.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is discussion and action, the first reading on ordinance number 2019-003. Mr. Fry.
Ordinance amending the Town of Bluff City zoning ordinance 95-012, Article 8, area, yard, and height requirements. Be it therefore ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen that the non-residential area, yard, and height requirements contained in Article 8 of the Bluff City zoning ordinance be deleted in their entirety. And this is just cleaning up the ordinance.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So basically, this is removing an ordinance that if somebody neglected or for their yards to grow up, so we won't be able to enforce it.
Oh, no, this is on setbacks and lot areas.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah.
We're just in non-residential areas, we're just making it the same instead of having two categories.
Yep.
All in one category.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Do we have a
I
second?
second.
Take a vote, please, Sharon.
Alderwoman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Roll,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington,
Yes.
Alderman Ward,
Yes.
Alderman Bowen.
Yes.
Okay. And the next thing on the agenda is discussion and action on TCRS employer contribution rate certification. Sharon Green.
This is the retirement plan for the employees of the city of Bluff City. In the past 2 years, Bluff City has been contributing 6.17% of the employees' wages as the city's part. And the auditors, in our last audit, and for some of them weren't here, we have overfunded as where it's usually liability, which many places has a liability. The city of Bluff City treats it as an asset. So our current minimum employee rate from TCRS is 0%. That's what they're saying we have, the minimum that we can.
Because
so
we
you're
both
at
funded.
0. Okay. The auditors at the end of June 18 suggested that we lower the 6.17% instead of continually putting money in to go up on the retirements. And TCRS, they recommend, even if your minimum rate is 0, which we have, they believe that you should never go below 2%, even if you are funded, well-funded, that you should always, because of the volatility of the market, because retirements funds rely on the market. And TCRS has a base return on the stock market or the investments of 7.25%. Well, as of June 30th, 2018, the market showed 8.19%. But this year, the way it's going for the current year at June of 2019, that it looks like it's going to be lower. But that's just to give you some information how they base the percentage that they recommend us to do. So then you all have the choice to make, whatever percent. You need to discuss it, decide what percent we want to put in the budget for this next year.
What's your recommendation?
I would recommend not a 3 to 4%. TCRS recommends it not doing at least a 2%.
I mean, we're at 6%.
Right now, last year's was 6.17%. That's the percentage of employees' wages that the city contributes to retirements.
And basically what they're saying is that we've overfunded it, so they're recommending
Yes.
we not put anything in it.
Yes.
Basically.
Well, yes. Usually your funded, unfunded balance shows as a liability because most places haven't or got high payouts and they're underfunded. But where Bluff City is overfunded, it shows as an asset, which is, better have an asset than a liability.
So what's the pleasure of the board? 3%? 3.5%? 4%?
I just want us to be able to take care of our folks and it be financially feasible. We have some folks that are pretty senior on our staff right now. That'll be an asset to them.
Well, right now, you only have 6 people that's drawing on their retirements, that's retired. You only have 6 people. You have inactive employees who will be able to draw. You have 38 of those, 38 people. And then your active employees, you have 18 that can retire and draw retirements.
Shane, can you let them know how much we have in there at the present time?
The what?
Can you let the board know the dollar amount we have in there at the present time? But isn't it over $1 million?
$1,371,000.
Well, the vice mayor mentioned that, and I know speaking from our company, my company, our standard contribution is about 3%. So I think that's a solid number for us to begin to talk about.
So does someone want to make a motion?
I'll go ahead and
So you want to go on the 3%?
3%. Yeah, I'll make a motion for that, for 3%.
Alderwoman Keith, second the motion.
Who made the motion?
Yes, she did.
And Keith, Alderman Keith. Alderman Keith. Alderman Broyles.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington.
Yes.
Alderman Ward.
Yes.
Alderman Bowling.
Yes.
Okay. My report is, I guess, we have made more headway on the boardwalk and changing most of the planks and we changed all the lights down at the pavilion, and the ones we changed to, let's see, 19 of them was totally out, and there's 35. We have 35, but we're saving money by changing to the LED. We'll be saving quite a bit of money, and then we already have the stain paid for, but we have to wait for at least 2 to 3 weeks before we can put the stain on. There's painting being done on the tables, and then over the roof we may have to put another coat on. And then, of course, we've changed, putting new lights out here, and they're shining up to the flags. And then, of course, as Dave said, their contractors are continuing, and we've been getting a lot of phone calls from customers, and they've really been pretty understanding. But the big thing that they want is just to make sure that the contractors are going to take care of it, and they assure me that everything's going to be taken care of and be put back like it's supposed to be put back. Trying to think. Of course, we had someone to break in down at the, Alan, you want to tell them about that?
This past weekend, I believe this is what I believe happened. Unfortunately, our cameras were unplugged at the current at that moment. But what I believe someone ended up getting stuck inside the girls' bathroom. They basically had to punch open the vent in order to retrieve that person from the bathroom. So we are in a situation we are going to have to purchase another door. But there wasn't any damage inside the bathrooms or anything like that. It does look like someone had gotten stuck because I tried to open the door and I had to basically climb in and find out what was going on. The lock wasn't working properly. So I'd say it just wasn't vandalism. I think someone was trying to actually get out.
Also, the men have been working really hard. They've had a lot on them. And so I will just go ahead and say that Public Works Supervisor Alan Moultrie didn't get a chance to do a report. So I wanted to mention that. But there's other things that we've been working on trying to improve things and to help us to lower the cost of different things. Report from City Attorney Paul Fry.
The only report I have is we've collected a little over $1,100 in delinquent taxes this month.
Okay. Report from City Recorder Sharon Green.
The fund balance is, as of April 2019, general fund $1,431,593, sanitation fund $5,500, the special police fund $14,199, the debt service fund $145,191, sinking fund $3,095. The water sewer fund $625,755. Total fund balance $2,225,333.
Have a motion to approve the budget.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Take a vote, please.
Alderwoman Keith.
Yes.
Alderman Boyles.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington.
Yes.
Alderman Ward.
Yes.
Alderman Bowling.
Yes.
Okay. And the next thing on the agenda is reports from the city officials and county commissioners. Chief of Police Greg Depew. Oh, I'm sorry. I am totally sorry. Comments from board members. Alderwoman Carol Keith.
First of all, I'd like to thank God for this opportunity. I thank my husband and my family and the people that have voted for me. Also, citizens, I want you to know that I will be a true, honest voice. I will stand up for the people, and also I will stand up, speak up, and speak out for the employees. I want everybody treated fair. My door is open. And also, this is very serious. And I'm not wasting my time coming down here playing games or throwing stones at anybody. I want us to move forward. And I do believe that if we all work together, this can be the best board that Bluff City has ever had. But we've got to work together. And for the ones that don't want to work together, so be it. And also, I'd like the citizens to know that as long as it's not state mandated, I will not vote for any increases because the citizens are struggling now, and it's too hard. There's people moving out. But I believe that we all can come together. For every problem, there is a solution, and work together and do what is right, and agree to disagree, and not to be throwing stones and being ugly, because we're not going to get nothing done. So if anybody want to throw stones at me, you're wasting your time. I don't have time for it. And again, thank you for this opportunity. Be patient with me, okay? Be blessed. Can you say one thing?
Wait just a minute. Alderman Jeff Rules.
Thank you. Good evening, town family. Been praying about this for a minute on the day I used to be him, you know, and the day I made it up here. So I just wrote a short statement, and I'm just going to read it to you because I want it to be clear and completely understood. I would like to take this opportunity to thank God for placing me in this chair this evening. I would also like to thank everyone who supported me during the election and in advance for your support moving forward. Being your servant and representative requires expectations of performance, of which some I will briefly speak to. I will be a very active board member and not a placeholder. I will be attentive and professional at all times, a good listener and facilitator of discussion, empathetic and caring, a team player. I will become extremely familiar with the town's business, processes, and procedures. I'll be accessible and dependable. By the way, my cards are laying right there. If any of you need my phone number, email, or any of my social media contact, please take one. I'm on the Bluff City website otherwise. I will solicit your opinion and ideas often. I want to know what you think. It's going to take all of us to make a difference. And I'll place the interest of the town and our town family first and foremost always. There are two things I want to ask of you in return. Utilize me. Utilize me. I will prove to be a loyal and trustworthy servant. I promise. Please lay aside past differences. We have too much work to do. And since 1767, we've worked together regardless, and that's where we need to go today. Finally, I would ask, if it be the pleasure of the board, two additional things. One, that I be offered as a sponsor or co-sponsor for the Veterans Memorial immediately. I am working on a Patriot Trail project with the county and the National Park Service, and I think those projects could tie in together well. And then finally, as we begin to schedule workshops, I work full-time. And I would ask that whenever possible, I know it won't always be, that those are scheduled in the evenings to allow more participation. Finally, I'd like to thank you for your attention and attending this evening.
Okay. Vice Mayor Ray Harrington.
Appreciate everyone coming out. I think the outcome of the election was to the best of Bluff City, I believe, and I look forward to working with Carol
Thank you.
and Jeff and Eric, of course, and with Richard, of course, who we already have. I think we're on the right path, and we'll continue to do so. It just takes time. We're getting there. Better than it was when I started, so a lot better. Thank you.
Alderman Eric Ward.
I'd just like to thank everybody for their support and having the confidence in me to continue doing this up here. I enjoy it and look forward to working with you.
Okay. And Alderman Richard Boland.
I appreciate the crowd here tonight. I'm glad that everybody's here, and I wish we had a standing room only. And I want to congratulate our new members, and we'll all work together and make our town better. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is a report from city officials and county commissioners. Do we have any? Chief Greg DePue.
Good evening, Mayor and Board, and also I'd like to congratulate 3 board members that were elected and look forward to working with you all. For the month of May, we had a total of 165 calls. We issued 64 citations, had patrolled 4,350 miles, had 9 arrests, 20 offense reports, had 3 alarms, had 7 accidents, 5 MSDs, had 2 domestic calls, and we had 4 drug arrests for the month. They had a decent month. Everything's going okay, just trying to work hard and keep things going.
Can you remember how many drug arrests we've had in the last month? Do you remember? The last 2 months.
Probably in the last 3 months, we've had somewhere probably around 12 to 15. I just have to go back and look at my records, but that's what I would say, maybe give or take one or two in one direction.
You've done a good job.
Yeah.
Chief, could you explain a little bit about the GPS?
GPS? The GPS is just something that monitors the vehicles, I guess the city trucks and the police cruisers, just their location of them.
Oh, safety.
I guess that's when they voted for them, the board.
What, do you monitor it or what?
I don't. GPS ain't going to affect my duties as far as the chief or the police department, whether they're there, whether they're not. We're going to perform at a high level the best we can, regardless. I mean, that, so.
So that's just something that's needed then, right?
That's, like if it helps with our insurance plus, like if you had an accident and you were out on the road by yourself, one officer by themselves.
It tells your speed and stuff. It can track your speed and stuff.
Yeah.
So. Is that why? Because of insurance? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Counties always dispatch. They know where these cars are.
Yes, they do. That's one thing I forgot.
Any more questions or anything?
Good job, Keith.
Thank you. We're working,
Thank
working hard. We're going to try to keep it up.
I met you, new man today.
John Boyd, by the way, board. This is one of the new hires here. John Boyd just started.
Oh, Chief,
Yes.
could you tell about what's her name on Carter Street, about how it's all grown up and what we're doing on that? We actually cut down all the grass and stuff, and we're sending her a bill because she would not do anything.
We were in touch with her, and we took care of it. She's going to refund the city. She won't see her bill. She'll take care of it. So
Okay, thank you.
And one other thing, too. The lady mentioned about 4 months. Let me explain a little bit that. I know it sounds bad, but the people who lived there were being evicted, and it came to a forceful eviction, which means that the police have to go actually take their stuff out. Sullivan County does. They were avoiding any type of service to their door. They were very seldom ever there. The lady who owns that doesn't live in Bluff City or the state of Tennessee, so it's made it very difficult at times to try. That's why it seems, and I understand it's been so long, but that is some of the issue with the time frame. We're still working on it very hard, so hopefully we get something done.
Is anything that you want to say just off of the top of your head?
I just personally would like to say congratulations to everybody on the board. Congratulations to the new members. Other than that, everything seems to be going well in both departments. And I just hope we all just can band together and keep things headed in the same direction we're headed in right now, and which I foresee that as a good direction. But other than that, that's all I have right now.
Okay. Can anybody think of anything under old business that they'd like to say? If not, under new business, is there anything that? Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have new business. I'd like to see about these water rate connections, because I think at the last meeting you asked about having some documentation. Well, if y'all didn't get any, I've got some, and I just received this fax from Elizabeth, and it's like $30, and then I've got one from Johnson City. It's like $30 or $40. And also, I've got one from Plumville. And those are like $30, and we're paying for new $350. $150 for homeowners. $300 and $350 for renters. And we're talking about $30.
Well, we was going to bring it up under the in the budget, so pretty soon.
Because we really need to do something about that.
So just hold on to those, your papers. That'll be good.
probably this month sometime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be taken care of as soon as possible.
Yeah, we'll make sure
We
it's
need
in
to
the
make
evening.
our town more affordable if possible, because people are moving out.
Could I get a copy of those, Alderman Keys?
Yes,
That,
yeah, you should.
then I can make copies for everyone for the, workshop.
Okay, and I also would like to say that we don't have to let our past define our future for Bluff City.
And Jeff brought up the Veterans Memorial.
That's what I was going to go
I
back
want to jump
to.
in on it.
Well, go back.
Yay.
I'd like to, you want to be on the head of it?
Oh,
I
you
was
have
the
Richard.
chair of that committee, but I thought
Richard
Alderman
and
Bowling was already.
That's what I was going to say, Coach.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah. Or just as a co-sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, anytime.
And I'll be in future meetings socializing the progress of the Patriot Trail. We're getting ready to meet with the National Park Service again,
That's
which the
good.
mayor knows about. So I'll bring that information to the meeting.
That's
It's a
wonderful.
very exciting thing that could happen, will happen for our town eventually. And I'll give you more details in future meetings.
And we already have the funding for it, right?
No, we have so much
Some of
money, we don't
Yeah,
have,
some.
Right.
we don't have enough yet, but we've got some.
And I
We got
talked to
quite a
Michelle,
bit.
they're going to donate the blocks and stuff, so that's already taken care of, whenever we decide to do it. And the Patriot Trail is coming through Bluff City, correct?
It certainly is.
Be nice if we could.
We're talking that now, and that's the reason I want to grab the synergy that y'all have already started with the Veterans Memorial work and try to tie it in as we bring in all the entities this year. There's still some easements to gain, not in town, but up to the county, and there's some legal work to do, but right now is the time for us to jump on board.
Yeah,
And,
set a time frame to aim for it.
Right, exactly. So thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Now we're down to citizens' comments. Joanne.
Yeah. Connie Leonard, 314 Main Street.
I
was
mean,
gonna-
why did I say Joanne?
Just thinking about Mom.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was wanting to ask one thing. With the water rates, the citizens inside Bluff City are paying like double and triple sewer rates. So that's one of the reasons our water rates are running so high. It's not actual water usage, but the sewer usage. And I would ask that you all maybe try to look into that as well. But also wanted some clarification on this retirement fund that you were talking about went from 6 something to 3. Was that, are you all decreasing the amount that you're going to put into?
Basically, we've overfunded it.
But will it balance out for the employees eventually?
Yes, we've got $1,300,000.
Okay. And it's like Mr. Broyles said earlier, for some of these special call meetings and other workshop meetings and stuff, be good to do them in the evenings more so citizens can participate some in it. And, yeah, we would appreciate that so we can, have some updates on what's going on.
Okay. Does anybody else have a comment?
Kimberly Arwood, 312 Hard Drive. Mr. Broyles, Alderman Broyles, I just wanted to say that I agree with you 100% on these workshops, that they need to be done in the evenings for people that work 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We can't attend or hear anything that's going on, and I totally agree with you on that, and I think that's a great idea. And Alderwoman Keith, Carol, I have been out there with you, and I know for a fact you never told anyone that you would lower their water bills. And I just want to thank you for your professionalism, how you handled yourself tonight. You've truly shown how professional you really are, having the stones thrown at you, and you really stood firm on what you believe. And I just want to thank you for that. How you handled it a lot better than I would. Thank you.
I know God to take care of it.
Is there any, you had your hand up.
Hi again, my name is Kathy King. I want to congratulate all of you. We need to have faith in the people that work for our city. And it's so important that I get up here to tell my side of the story. And I thank you for listening to it. It's real important. These are our homes and our families.
and our neighbors, and we have to consider them. I've never had an argument with one of my neighbors ever, and I've been here for 10 years in my house. It's not that I want to deny him the right to have a business. That's not where I'm going. I want him to promise to do what he said he's going to do and not make that place a dump. I want us all to live peacefully because I haven't with him. And I hope that in the end, that instead of being my enemy, that we can try to work out this peacefully. But I want to thank you for listening to me. It's important.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Excuse me,
Oh.
Mayor Wells, these meetings, like early morning, some of us work, is there any way we can kind of?
Sure. Okay.
Tomorrow's one is because of Pat Schulman, wasn't it? Tomorrow's meeting is due to Pat Schul's schedule.
Who's scheduled?
The MTS.
Oh, yeah. But we're working, trying to have all of them in the evening. Okay, did you get them this item? Oh, can we have a motion? We have a motion.
I made a motion. Who's
Okay.
second?
We had a second.
Second.
Alderwoman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Wool,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington,
Yes.
Alderman Ward,
Yes.
Alderman Bowen.
Yes.
Did all of you get